Good evening, everyone, and welcome to day number 618, War in Ukraine. Of course, the war also in Israel, and yes, they are all connected. We're going to validate that even more tonight. 9:01 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, 3:01 in Ukraine, and yes, tonight we have Yevgen Matsutsa live with us, and it's only 6 hours difference because we haven't changed time yet, but tomorrow that'll change and it'll be back to +7. Going to be a very interesting night. A little different setup. We're going to look at the technical things. We're going to look at the cities. We're going to do everything like we normally do. Start with the air raid alert map. In fact, I can give that to you right now, just like we always do. And it's clear right now, so that's good. But tonight, I'm going to ask some questions. Yevgen is going to talk. You have the ability tonight to ask questions, and I'm going to be watching the chat. So tonight, it's been a few weeks since we could have him here live, and we took advantage of it tonight. Next week, I will be in Oklahoma City. The streams will be here. No problem. I will be live from Oklahoma City with the portable setup, but this was the opportunity to get Yevgen in. So that's what we're doing tonight. So if you have questions, feel free to ask them to him, and we'll see what we can do. There are some questions I'm going to ask him that will help as well. Maybe the same questions you have. So welcome to all of you guys. Linda Cassio, I see you there. Pat Shove, Ricochet, as always. Skag down in Australia. Carl Elwell, Vegas. Raccoon over in Great Britain. Rick Berry, Jeffrey Burnett, moderator from California. JD Oat, moderator from Illinois. Fody family, Northern California. Tim Ryder, welcome to you. Hope you got my email back, my friend. Okay, I do not want to hurt your name here. Kashayar Naragi. Kashayar Naragi. Hello from San Francisco. Greetings to you. I love San Francisco. Ricochet, going to take it easy on us tonight. Chuck Pinkham coming in from San Jose, California. Carrie Dyer, good evening from Nevada. PG, your sweatshirt was mailed today. Great. You guys also have your camera. We're rocking and rolling. So, guys, that's where we're at. Thank you for being here. And without further ado, let's get the man in here and say good morning to you, sir.
Good morning. Good morning from Ukraine.
Good morning from Ukraine. We're liking the wood background. The audio's perfect. And, I also got a perfect on the name pronunciation. Thank you, my friend. So, Yevgen, it's been a few weeks since you've been able to be live. A lot of stuff going on, lots of travels. We're still running aid, helping, doing everything that we do. And I'm counting the days until I get there. Oh, we're on the countdown now. So, looking forward to being there and supporting as we did. We're gonna do our best also, bud, to live stream. It's so much better. We'll do pre-mades when we can, but we just arrange our schedule a little bit, at least as much as we can actually be live. And yes, that would mean we're up at 4 a.m., but it's okay. So we'll be doing that. We've been getting your comments in here. I asked you a question, you send me a video, I throw it into the stream. But tonight we're live. So thanks for being here. First question is,
thank you.
How's your shoulder from your surgery?
Oh, perfect. Yeah,
perfect.
Good.
So we're ready to roll.
Yeah.
Oh, listen.
No any problem.
I'm ready to roll, buddy. Now, let's jump right to it. Thank you guys for being here. Thank you for continuing to share, like, comment, subscribe, bells on, everything. We're not going anywhere. Let's start here, Yevgen. We're going to start with a frontline look. We're going to do it a little differently tonight. And I'm going to call the city, and you just give your comment on it. Okay? We do know that, like, over the last 48 hours, Russia did increase their attacks again as far as drones and missiles. They were kind of, well, I don't want to say they were quiet,
Mm-hmm.
but it ticked up a little bit over the last couple of days. Before I go into the cities and ask you a question, do you think they're going to continue to target infrastructure to make it a difficult winter? That's my question.
Yeah, for sure. There is no doubts about that. And I believe that they're expecting and waiting uh, for the cold temperature to have it, to make it more painful for Ukrainians. And this is one of the reasons why they're using Shaheds for that. They're trying to find out all our strategic, let's say, and for defending. They're trying to figure out all their main, let's say, positions and protocols we're using for air defense. So this is they're using the learning, and I believe they're saving some missiles just for the better time.
I agree. So that's that question. So I'm going to go in now. We're going to call some cities out. We'll go to this map right here. We'll use Deep State tonight. And let's start in Hardik. Hardik is the largest. Let me finish the explanation. It's the largest city that's closest to the Russian border, up there in the northeast. You know, in certain places, it's just kilometers from Russia. It seems Hardik has become a pretty serious target the last 48 hours. What's going on in Hardik? And I can show the video you sent me. Just tell me when.
Comparing to other places, okay, there is Sumy and Chernihiv, let's say, quite close, but smaller places. When it goes about the Kharkiv,
I was just saying Hardik is the biggest city close.
Biggest, and it's close. So the people there, and I mean the people in the military and civilians has minimum chances to know, or zero chances to know before about the attack before, like just in time, because it's a too short distance to the border with Russia, and when attack goes, it's as effect. Its attack goes, so people have no alarms, nothing, and our guys cannot make sure like what to. I mean, in a lot of cases, let's say they cannot inform that this place or like the missile attack on that area, or like it's a tough situation there.
It's so close that
terrorizing city.
Yeah, they're hitting it before the air alarm can even recognize it. That's right. Okay.
And they're terrorizing people, terrorizing city. So like.
Here's the video.
And yes, Kharkiv is quite. Yeah.
Let me show that, and I'll come back to you on Hardik. This is a gas station.
No.
What is this?
It's a car repair.
Oh, car repair shop.
Station.
So this is what they're doing by terrorizing. I mean, there's no target there. Zero.
They're making this target. The post services, this car repair services.
Go to Kupiansk. I'm looking at the questions tonight. I'm going to try to manage everything. So we're going to go over to Cam iPad. And we're going to go over out of Hardik now, and we're going to come over to Kupiansk. And this is the city of Kupiansk here, and this is the Russian line. It's been tough there, but are we holding? How is it in Kupiansk?
Yeah. So when it goes to Kupiansk, by the way, the same situation with Bakhmut and Avdiivka, they started to use the chemical weapon there. And if on this
Hold on a
third
second now. You
directions,
can't be
this,
giving out information like that and then let me make sure I'm clear. So when you say they have been using chemical weapons, you're talking about the Russian army against Ukrainian positions.
Russian aggressors army are using chemical weapon against of Ukrainian warriors who fighting for own land on Ukrainian territory. So in area of Kupiansk, that and the front lines on Bakhmut and Avdiivka. The three places on all of it, they were using the chemical weapons.
Well, I know they've been reinforcing these areas. I'll come down the line now. I'm just coming down and working our way towards Bakhmut. This is the Seversk pocket, and we come down, and then we're here. This is that circle road there with Slavyansk at the top, Kramatorsk, comes around to Konstantinivka, and then the road goes in through Ivanivsky down here into Bakhmut. So Bakhmut's the same situation. Are the lines even moving, or are we just shelling each other?
Okay, and at Kupiansk, it stays the same. The quantity of attacks they're increasing, but there is no success. Let's say no any advantage there for Russian army. So our guys staying strong there. And yes, we have a special request for the medics from medics there. They really, in tough situation, and we're looking the way to help there, because a lot of wounded our guys, but this is the price Ukraine are paying, but our guys are staying strong there. So no any success on Russians for Russians yet.
Okay, so that takes care of Kupiansk and Bakhmut. We'll go to Avdiivka in a moment, but like I said tonight, question and answers. So I'm going to give you here's a question. So let's go first. Let's stay on the chemical weapon. What type of chemical weapons have they been using? And that's from multiple people. Carl Elwell, JDO. Do we know?
I have no information. No. As for me, not exactly. I know there is straight feedbacks about some people. Seems to me the guys who were the Russian battalion of Russians who fighting for Ukraine.
Yes,
they being moved to one of those directions, let's say, and I heard the feedback about it, that they couldn't believe about the chemical weapon or using the phosphorus, and when they used it, they couldn't believe that it is, yes, that's a fact, and it was confirmed from this battalion as well about using the phosphorus, for example.
Yes, but the bottom line is, you have enough personal connections, that they're using chemical weapons on the front over there.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, and some Ukrainian sources, you can find it in public. No problem. Okay. It's but from all of these directions.
You are the source for us. Now, Susie Q asking a question. This probably refers to Novap POA in Hardik that was destroyed. Is this the second post office they destroyed? Mail place.
No.
Have other mail places have been hit? Or shipping places?
I don't know. They used it quite, a lot, and attacking that kind of. Why? Yes. By where relatives can send some stuff through their sons or fathers through the Novap POA, but it's not nothing like sending it tanks.
Yeah.
I don't know about the second place, but few Novap POA were damaged in Kharkiv, not one.
More than one.
But this one, not like a main hub.
Okay.
Nothing like that.
But we
with
know,
that size.
You and I are very aware that the Russians know that volunteers and humanitarian aid is being shipped through Novap POA or other shipping services inside Ukraine. They know that. So
Yeah, for sure.
they're just going to try to terrorize that. They know aid's coming to the soldiers, medical supplies coming through the mail. I mean, that's what we do. We load the vehicle in Khmelnytsky or load a trailer. We head east and we ship 2 or 3 shipments to different cities. We unload, we go pick up more, and this is how you do it. All right, so that takes care of that. Carl Elwell, good. He says, explain that Ukraine pays their pensions through the post. Are pensions paid through the post or used to be?
Through the Ukrainian post services. Yes, that's a fact. Yes. Yeah, it's not a Novap POA services. It's as I know, it's let's say state post service, Ukrainian state post service, and yeah, when it's time to get a pension, you can find even lines in some of places because
of the post office.
Okay, yes, but it comes from time of Soviet Union, let's say.
I know.
Even from that, because some people are getting it on their bank card, so they sitting at home and it just comes. But the other people, they still connected to that and they want to get a cash on the post service. And yes, for people who cannot walk normally, partly disabled, let's say, people limited with the serviceman from the post service comes to home and bringing that pension, that money.
Good.
Pavel Ivanovich is one of the examples.
It's terrorism. That's what it is.
Yes.
So,
yeah.
All right,
yeah.
let's move down.
100%.
Let's move down now from Bakhmut and come down to Avdiivka. There are certain cities that have become famous in this war. I need to zoom out and get down past Gorlivka. And Bakhmut, of course, now Kupiansk, of course, now Avdiivka. Here's Avdiivka. We know that right here on the north, they want to take the coke plant, but what's the situation in Avdiivka?
When it goes about the concentration of Russian troops, it's number one. It is much higher than it was in Bakhmut. Just for that direction, where the Russians have about more than 40,000 soldiers, just for the Avdiivka, and more coming. So they want to get the chemical plant.
Yes.
And let's say their plans is obvious, but our guys trying do the best to not to have anything close like Azovstal, and protecting all the ways, let's say, possible in the decisions, just to protect our guys. But there is a mid-storms there. Yes, our guys had to use even Leopard tanks there, and which wasn't in the plan, as I know. But well, let's say I believe the commanders knowing the best when and how to use the best way for Ukraine, the tanks, and what direction. So
we had to throw some heavy defense there. We had to throw some heavy defense there. Okay.
We have not much options. Let's say Ukrainian situation everywhere. We have no aircrafts, and this is then it makes this war coming back to the second and the first world war. It means that 90% of artillery, or 90% of the losses, it comes because of artillery. So, but we have not enough supply. Let's say without artillery. Quite limited. This is why we're using all the ways like to stand.
Understood.
Expecting aircrafts.
Expecting aircraft, yes. Let's move over. Here's Zaporizhia. We come down, and this is this is the best offensive that we had for the counteroffensive. Am I correct? I mean, yeah.
Yes, and this one and our guys doing coming from Kherson as well, that direction.
Yeah,
So
we'll get to Kherson in a minute, but this is basically Robitny and Verbovi below Orikhiv. How is it there now?
Let's say our guys doing a great job, and they moving the line which is moving for taking our territory back. It's proving it, and yes, one more village. Let's say like this: the whole line are moving there, and our guys are preparing the ways and shortening the distance for coming to Tokmak direction, Tokmak city.
Tokmak, yeah.
And yes, this is, let's say, if we would make it to cut it out, that place, to reach Tokmak, that it gives us a lot of benefits, let's say. But
well, let me go back.
Our guys moving.
Let me go back and just make sure everybody understands, because we're very flexible tonight. So I'll go in blue, of course, here, and let me make it that. So this is, I got to get on the right pin there. This is where Ukraine is pushed in, and Zhenya is talking about this city right here, Tokmak, and this is what Ukraine wants. This is what Ukraine needs, because this would be the gateway to Melitopol, which is the fortress, and then that's the gateway for the land bridge to Crimea. So this, when he's talking about Tokmak, this is the direction we're talking about.
But our guys are doing a great job on the south, and the south is, let's say, happy news, like at least some from that direction. So this is good to hear, and I believe maybe end of next week, we will be helping those guys as well. Very needed unit for them we bring.
Well, this is one of our places over here. We have places that basically we've adopted and we work in, and this is it right here out of Orikhiv. And you can see, guys, it's right on the push. This is this is where we work. Additionally, we also work down south here in this area. I'll leave it at that. Now, let's move over to Kherson. So basically what I tell people every day on the streams is that Kherson is shelled every day. It is hit every day. People are wounded or killed every day. Homes are destroyed. Infrastructure is destroyed every day. I mean, every day. Correct?
Yeah, correct, absolutely. And not possible to publish on site, to publish all of it everywhere in the news channels, because it's crazy. And so it's people like who tracing, let's say, this exactly that region, they can find it, and it's in the public access, but not on the main news channels. But every day, civilians are dying.
Yes, every day. And that's what I share every stream, because I go through the map just like this. Tonight you're doing it. You're here. The thought just occurred to me that we need to remember that Russia occupied Kherson for 10 months. And when you and I were early going into Kherson, like some of the first times we would arrive and we go down to the river near the shipbuilding in the port and the schools, you remember the billboards? The billboards were still up advertising like Russian television, get Russian cable TV. And it had them in, they hadn't took them down yet. We were there early, and they've been taken down now. But what we have to remember is for 10 months, Russia was in Kherson, and then they pulled back. Ukraine was pushing, and we called it then. They're going to pull back across the river and shell it to pieces. And that's what they've done since they left. But they were there. They know every street. They've got maps. They've got GPS coordinates. They've got all the information they need. They don't even need a drone, although drones fly over Kherson all the time. It's interesting. I didn't think about that, but just think about it. They were able to map every building, every location.
And they have their collaborators. It's a big problem in Kherson.
Well,
It's
we
people-
shared that. Hey, we shared that one night. You and I were coming back to where we stay in Kherson, and I mean, you came. It was like we were in a James Bond movie because we came out of that little coffee shop there, and you says, "Man, something's not right. Something is not right. We're going to stand right here. This guy needs to go away. That person down there needs to go. Something is wrong. We're not walking through the gate where we're staying until we're clear." And there was things you heard language wise that, of course, I would never cut, be able to understand the nuances of the Russian language like that. I can communicate and talk, no problem. But the nuances, and you said something's wrong here. So we experienced that. It's tough place, real tough.
And if you remember, they were, when Russia got the Kherson, like temporary occupied it, they put a board with the messages, "We here forever."
Yes.
And they were promising people, "We here forever." And if you can check Kherson in the Russian constitution.
Yes, exactly.
It's a Russian city.
Absolutely. That's what they say, as well as the others. Correct.
So now they destroying,
their own city.
Like,
I understand, but they're destroying their own city. I understand. Yeah. Exactly. JDO, I see your question there about military leadership. It's on the itinerary and coming up shortly. Okay, so that's where we're at on the front lines. Let's move to here. Can you explain to everybody? Oh, something else you want?
Yeah, I will. Yeah, about Kherson.
Okay, back to Kherson.
It's important to back and to just to remember that the good group of Ukrainians, the Ukrainian soldiers are on the. They got some territory on opposite bank of the Dnipro, and they now, let's say, spreading it, taking more and more territory. Russians cannot stop them yet. So in Kherson, it's a new direction. Our guys are, let's say, developing. And I think we will hear more and more. Yeah, it's a tough, because every time when they're crossing the Dnipro, it's like a special operation. But our guys they fixed their positions there, and I think we will hear more and more because only special forces were working there, and I believe they will preparing it special, let's say. Yeah, special field, special base there for starting a new direction.
Okay, so let's just confirm this, because this question came up a couple of nights ago where I saw comments, people chatting about it. So there are some Ukrainians on the left bank of the river somewhere down there.
Yeah.
Okay, and we've established
and
positions.
They're moving. Yes.
Okay,
now
we'll
it's
leave it right
confirmed.
there. So, guys, you can see right here, this is Kherson. We're talking a very big city. It's so important down here with all of this shipbuilding, infrastructure here in Mykolaiv. So when we tell you that it's being shelled every day, let me do this. Here's Oleshki. The Russians are all here, and they're just slinging shells. They are out in here a little bit, but it's difficult. It's swampy. It's not This is kind of no man's land between. But I know for you guys that want to know, let's just go from this position here. And 4 kilometers from Oleshki to the riverbank, and just come on up here in the center. 6 kilometers, miles. 2.5, 3, 4 miles. It's nothing. So this is the problem there with Kherson. All right, let's go to the next one.
They even used the tanks.
They're hitting Kherson with tanks.
So they were using last week the tanks for hitting Kherson. Just for you to understand, like together with artillery. Yeah.
And I know, like, there's other places where you and I've been on the river. Let me find what. Yeah, right here. For example, we went into Lvov. Remember? Lvov, and dropping the aid. And so, folks, if I show you this is how dangerous it is. I'll just use kilometers. It's for everybody to understand. So, listen, this is all a town here. You see that? This is on the occupied side. This is all swamp. And we were right here on the riverbank delivering aid on one of these buildings. And it's 3.4 kilometers. It's close. So it's dangerous. All right, let's go to the next question. Here we go. Explain what happened at the border. And no, I didn't understand it completely.
Okay.
And I don't think the rest of the world did either. What's the deal?
To make it short, when the war started, EU countries, let's say, made decision to help Ukrainian international transport companies and to help logistics, everything there and back. And in the beginning, I don't know if you remember, we were even a little bit out of some for example, sugar or salt. We had some shortage, like a short period, but then it's really fast. It get back to normal, and and EU companies made this. They did open their borders, let's say, for transport companies, and because there were special regulation before, special licenses, special contracts, and they were, let's say, tracking a lot of things, and it was international, normal international level, nothing but just normal international, let's say, relationship. But when they did open the borders, made it much more easy. Polish companies, and not just Polish, but Polish companies especially, started to, let's say, to lose some of their money, because for some Ukrainian companies it became more than easy, let's say, like this. Plus, some Ukrainian companies started to register offices in Poland, making it like a European company. But the money was coming to Ukraine. More money they were making on it. It just couple things, let's say. It's much more complicated, but now it was announced all these main companies, a lot of Polish transportation companies, the guys making drivers and the companies made decision to block the border from the 3rd of October, but November, sorry. But our guys already made some success in this, let's say, in this dialogue. So they moved it from the 6th It will 1 p.m. of the 6th of November. It will start, and by that they want to limit by blocking. It means the limit quantity of the cars the national cross border will allow. It means they will be allowing just one truck during 1 hour.
Okay.
That's and if before during the 24 hours it could be 300 trucks. Now
I have
it
a
will
question.
be
So it was supposed to be on the 3rd. They backed it up
now it's
72
on the
hours.
6th.
So are you telling me that they are going to limit the trucks starting on the 6th?
Yeah.
Okay. So what people need to understand, and myself, and we're learning, and that's why you're here, this is economic related.
Yeah, it will not touch just the regular cars or buses.
Okay, and how is the relationship between Poland and Ukraine right now? Where do we cross sometimes? Rebeny? Yeah, Rebeny. Or Ravaruska. Okay, guys. All right, I'm going right to the border, and I'm going to show people why this is serious. I'll go here. This is actually one of the borders. We have multiple borders we cross, but this is Poland. This is Ukraine. And if I come
when it comes about that blocking, you have to think about Yagodin cross border cross.
Yes.
Yagodin.
So, but look here. This is just a Google image. I'm coming in on that. Do you see all the trucks? Okay. And then you see the trucks queued up here. Now, guys, let me do this. Sorry, Jacob. 2cam web. Let's do that together. All those trucks, guys, I'm telling you right now, we have a document that allows us to kind of move ahead, but I'm telling you, and the man here to witness at night, the line of trucks now, this is an older Google image, is all the way down this road. It's like miles. And then even back then, before any of this conflict on the border, you told me that trucks sometimes stay there up to a week to cross the border. It takes that long to move. So now you're saying they're just allowing one truck an hour?
And
it's not possible.
So these transport companies for this, let's say, strike, they've been approved by Polish authorities.
Okay, that's the question from Tim Ryder.
January 3.
Is it the Polish government or trucking companies doing the blockade?
They requested permission to do it, and the law and Polish authorities, they did approve it to have it until January 3rd.
Okay, so starting November the 6th until January the 3rd, trucking companies will blockade the border, allowing very limited trucks through, and the Polish government supported it. Okay, so let's leave that there. That's the facts. So I have a question. Yeah. Go ahead.
At this moment, we need to remember 3 days before we had other information. Now they moved it to the 6th to start it. We don't know all, and it's not just okay. We will do it. They demand something. They request some changes, and our guys are negotiating now. If this request will be, let's say, they will find something between, and this decision will be okay for both sides, maybe we will not see that strike working.
So
we're not there
wait
yet.
And see, but what you shared tonight are the facts of what we're expecting unless it changes. Okay, let me ask you this last question and we'll move on. How are the relations between Ukrainians and Poles right now?
I would say good.
Okay, that's all. Leave it there. That's what I say. It's good. It's just we're in a war.
It's good.
It's good. Beautiful. That's what I tell everybody. The relations are good. All right.
Mm-hmm.
Just a comment on this. Zelensky fired, let's just be honest, reassigned Horenko.
Yeah, reassigned.
Reassigned. We tell the truth here. He removed him from the commander of the special ops and reassigned him to a different position. However, Viktor Horenko did say, I had no idea this was happening. It has taken me by surprise. And now up in the right, I couldn't even find a picture of the guy yet because nobody knows who he is, but Sergei Lupanchuk is going to be the new commander.
Yes, but when it comes to the Horenka,
yes,
he said, I'm continuing to serve Ukrainian country in the Central Intelligence Office. Okay. No, it's nothing are like
let me ask this
open
question.
about the reason.
No
Yeah.
reasons, I know. But let me ask you something.
No reasons, no comments, yeah.
We know that Zelensky's article in Time magazine, he's frustrated. We also know that Zaluzhny and his article was very clear. Is there some frustration in Ukraine? And you don't have to go in depth. It's just a simple question. Is there frustration in Ukraine right now about how much success has been achieved so far in the counteroffensive, and due to world events, it seems it's possible people are losing interest in Ukraine?
It depends. I will not tell for whole country my thoughts, because the people who are like having a critical, like let's say, mind and checking everything, they understand that Zelensky are sharing, and he says we continue fighting. We have some things we didn't expect, and same Zaluzhny is sharing that we stuck. We need breakthrough, like technological breakthrough. Otherwise, we like the same, let's say, same kind post-Soviet armies are fighting on the almost with the same technologies, and with that kind. And yes, with the quantity, yes, the source for mobilization, Russia has much more, much bigger. We cannot compare it. Like, yeah, for sure, there is not. We're not equal on that side, but on the technological level, we are almost the same. It means, yeah, we need breakthrough. We don't like to stuck in that phase of war like that, like a positional war. But but we need some help, yeah, for sure. But we are not quitting. We're not leaving something. We're not turning back. That's it. And plus, I just want to put this remark in here. It's a war. During the war, there is the commanders. There is a strategic decisions. There is something we will not hear, we will not see until the war will be over, and it's just a fair. And this way, how to say it? It's not a time for people who would make decisions during the war. The commanders are doing decisions.
Agreed.
Because they have much more information, and they have much more access, and that's why I really trust this way. I trust these moves. Let's say, surely there is a lot of critics, criticizing to what we have about the corruption, but there is other side here as well. So many corrupted are open now and will be punished.
The bottom line is also, and we could talk for hours about this, but it's a drone war. It is new warfare, and without air superiority, it's hard to win. So it's just reality. So
the drones and the mines.
Drones and the mines. Let's see here. King Raccoon talking about It won't be one truck an hour gets through. They already said aid and army supply trucks are exempt. Yeah, we're not talking about aid and army trucks. We're talking about transport of goods vehicles. Nothing to do with military or humanitarian aid.
Business,
they'll get through,
let's say.
For sure.
Yeah.
Welcome there, Tom, checking in. I see other questions here. We're going to get to them. So here's a question. You may or may not be able to answer this. I don't know. I have a question. Prepper Nation H. I don't think other channels could answer, but maybe you can. What's going on with the companies that Zelensky nationalized in the interest of defense, particularly Kraz truck plant?
Have no information, let's say, like this, but I would, my personal opinion, at this moment, 100% of economy should work for army. Doesn't matter the ownership.
Agreed.
My personal opinion that and country, just our country and economy just on the way to this, let's say we call it like the war rails, and it's need.
Mark McLaren asking, not sure if it's been asked yet, but are the Ukrainian people still behind Zelensky and the fight back, or are they starting to get fed up and having other suggestions, if that makes sense? Are the people still behind Zelensky?
Okay.
In your opinion, I know you want to be fair.
My opinion, it's we have war inside the country as well, and this war about it's a long story to and from outside it's hard to recognize that the problem, and maybe sometimes it looks like something crazy is going. During the time of Petro Poroshenko, it started, and then during Zelensky, it started to work. The centralization of money, flow, let's say the part of taxes, are staying in the same region, including the army taxes on army.
Yes.
And it's still, let's say, with all of it, it's still there, even after the beginning of war. The money is still concentrated there on let's say, staying in those regions. This is why, and during the war, let's say, a lot of news, I don't know, like, I believe most of it's just pro-Ukrainian. It's really Ukrainian patriotic, let's say, people and the companies. They telling and sharing people that about the spends of our governments, let's say, local. This is why people started to hate about rebuilding the roads, local roads, repairing changing the paints on the big buildings, something like that. But it's millions go there, and when we feel it other way than the world, because it's our families, our guys there. And sometimes we having this straight request, please help us with those and with that. And like, for example, in my city in Khmelnytsky, like we heard that mayor wants to install the new video like cameras, like security systems in the park with the recognizing the faces technology.
Facial recognition, yeah.
And surely, yeah, I hate it. Why? Because guys need thermals and thermoscope, and there are different systems there on the front. What is it? Why? And yes, we have war with that.
I read Ukrainian news, and I know
this is why people.
Go ahead.
Yeah, go
ahead. Well, I'm just saying, I read Ukrainian news, and for example, they're putting millions of dollars, just an example, to re-gold one of the church domes in Kyiv. Okay. You shouldn't put a penny into that church dome. It should go to the front. That's my opinion.
Yes. And it's opinion of all whose relatives are on the front lines.
Yes.
And this is the war we have. Yeah, we have inside. And with that, this is what one of the areas people are criticizing Zelensky. Why? Because officially, the power was changed. I mean, the ruling the country was, put it in a military administration hands.
Well, let's be honest about something that people outside the former Soviet Union do not understand. Ukraine is fighting a multi-front war here. We've discussed it. We have a military war. We have a propaganda war. We have a financial war. But folks, at the same time, Ukraine is fighting for their freedom, and they are breaking out. I don't care that the wall fell in 89 and 91, they gained their independence. Forget all of that. It's taking decades to break out of the Soviet system. It's that like a spider web, and it doesn't happen overnight. And the world does not understand at all the Soviet system. Zero. They think they do. So Ukraine can't just flip a switch and, okay, we're European. It's not possible. Flip a switch. Okay, we have American democracy now. No, it's not possible. It takes step by step.
But we fight.
By step. But you're fighting for it. And that's what we support.
Yeah, and the world, if the world wants to have less of Soviet Union in the world, it's helped to stand with Ukraine, because we fight with that. And yeah. So one more thing.
France needs to stop buying their liquefied gas. How about that? Never mind. Hey, comment here. I want you to hear this.
Okay.
I have a question, Tom P. Do the Ukrainian people know just how much the educated people of the world, and in this community here, everybody's educated. We got a great group here that's faithful for supporting and caring. How much the educated people of the world appreciate the sacrifices they, meaning Ukrainians, are making, even if we, as the rest of the world, are dragging our heels or being slow in giving the support they need. You're appreciated. Just make sure you know it. You don't have to say
I
nothing.
don't know.
Just, it's a nice comment. It's a nice comment.
Yeah, I got it. Yeah.
People care about you.
A person. Yeah.
People care about you. Yes, that's the answer.
Yeah. Yes.
That's the answer. Thank you.
Yeah.
Okay, Alexei Overchuk, and we'll go quick on these last couple of things here and get you in the bed. Alexei Overchuk, Russian Deputy Prime Minister. This is what we have said from day one of this war. The sanctions of Western countries, and this, folks, this is the Deputy Prime Minister. I'm introducing you tonight to Alexei Overchuk. We're always talking about Putin, Peskov, Lavrov, the clowns, Solovyov and Semyon, all of these people. But this is the Deputy Prime Minister. The sanctions of Western countries had a beneficial effect on the Russian economy. They became a powerful spark for the development of our economy. By and large, we are no longer interested in whether there's one less sanction or one more sanction. In such conditions, our economy not only learned to survive, it learned to develop, added Overchuk. Now, what I would say to that, and then I'll just get your simple response, I actually think he's right. I've said this from day one. Yeah, sanctions will have some effect on people and some infrastructures, but in reality, you know, you're going to look at the sanctions from your viewpoint. If you're an American or you're a European or you're, you know, maybe you're from Great Britain or Australia, you're going to look at it from your viewpoint. And I would just remind you that China and India and now the Middle East, Africa, none of these nations have South America. Most nations in South America, Central America have not sanctioned, have nothing against Russia. They're doing business like crazy. And now with the war in Israel, Russia's going to be making money hand over fist, guys. And this is, I think he's right. I think he's right. The sanctions, they don't care.
Okay. Russia were preparing to this war at least 10 years. And they did prepare well with the preparing for sanctions as well. When it comes to the military stuff, it had zero, let's say. We have it saying here, the things you cannot buy for big money, you can buy for very big money. And it means Russia prepared these great ways for importing the all needed components for their missiles, for everything they need. And yes, we heard about these sanctions, but okay, it's a secondary. Some volumes of gas selling the gas are even increased
Oh
for
yeah,
Russia.
exactly.
It means people just making money. India makes a huge money on that, and a lot of other countries they having business no problem. They even using it like, okay, if other countries are limiting, it means we will buy it from them, we will mix it, and we will sell it as European gas or
Correct.
European oil.
Exactly what they do. All right, last couple of questions here. So I'm going to lay the question out, and then just give me a simple answer. Here we go. So the House has passed an aid bill for Israel for 14.3 billion. Now it's got to go to the Senate and all this, but they separated Ukraine from Israel. Okay. The Senate's planning, and just tell you guys the truth here, to craft its own bill, include aid for Ukraine and Gaza. Okay. We're not talking about that tonight, but that's just where we're at. Biden administration just here this evening announced 125 million to meet Ukraine's immediate battlefield needs, as well as 300 million in security assistance initiative. So 425 million. It's getting smaller. In fact, the Biden administration came out and said they're going to have to be very strategic where they're helping Ukraine now because they're running out of the allotment. I'm just quoting. Okay, I'm not getting into politics here. So I have one simple question for you. With the war in Israel, the attention there, rightfully so, should be attention there, and not pulling from Ukraine, but it's, you the same way, you watching it. Okay. Do you think support is going to continue to get smaller, whether it's US, EU, whatever? Do you think our pinnacle of support is over and we're downhill?
No, I don't think so. I think
Okay.
it will be continued, and we cannot compare it or doing like okay, it will be like a competitive something, because the Israel, like the volumes Israel needs and Ukraine needs are different. I mean,
Yes.
especially in artillery, it's a crazy difference. Like the what Israel needs, like for a requested, like or needs, like with the help for quite period, we need it like for just a few days.
Understood.
This is volume, and Israel has other technologies and like military technology they're using, and they have access to it. We don't.
So, in a nutshell, you do not expect the aid to dwindle as a Ukrainian. You're feeling good.
No.
Okay, that was the question.
No,
good.
I trust.
I don't disagree with you. I'm just asking, letting you answer tonight. Okay, here's the simple question. We are aware Russia, through Wagner, is sending an SA-22 air defense system to Hezbollah. It's a fact. We know that Putin has come out and stated his, I don't want to misspeak here, but basically support for Hamas. Hezbollah leaders were in Moscow within the last few days. They're sending information. I can also tell you guys right now, and I'll show you this, but look here. This is the Russian Times in Arabic.
حبل يمثل الحد
And I will
الفاصل
show you
بين
guys
الحياة
this later,
المدنية
but it's
وأخرى
long.
عسكرية.
But let me just show you. These are the Russians in the tunnels with Hamas telling their story. I want to show you that on Monday. But Israel has stated that they are breaking off all security. It's not relations, but security relationships with Russia. That's canceled now. My question is very simple for you. Is Putin involved in the war in Israel? And do you think this is what he wants? Just your opinion. Is Russia involved there?
Absolutely.
Okay.
I'm sure Russia is involved, and I'm sure that Russia wants, and not Russia, Russia with the agreement of other countries, they want to involve big players on a world chess field to the game when those players are not trying to not to be aggressive and straight. They're trying to be, let's say, I don't know how to say it, a little bit slow and like that. And they want to drag those players in and to beat them together.
So my
This is
supposition
my thought.
here, okay, but the bottom line is just in general thinking, Russia invading Ukraine. We have a war there for 618 days. We now see Israel and Hamas. We see the Iranian backing it. We see, we just have to wait and see what unfolds. Hassan Nasrallah made statements today, anti-America, pro-Hamas, of course, and he says Hezbollah's already entered the war on October the 8th, and he's the Secretary General of Hezbollah. So we just have to wait and see what unfolds from that. But I don't mean this disrespectfully, but a blind man could see that Russia and Iran are behind all of this disruption in the world. It's very simple to see. And China's back there licking their chops because the more attention goes to Ukraine and Israel, they can have free run at Taiwan. It's all, in my opinion, no conspiracies, connected. And we're just seeing it. And we will see more of it as the days come. Here's a good question that's coming in as we close out now. Prepper Nation H, was the U.S. lend-lease, and we talked about this a year ago, to Ukraine a complete sham? Sham? Joke. Shoot.
Yeah, I think so.
I can't name anything sent to Ukraine under lend-lease. Everything seems to be getting sent via direct congressional appropriations via the Department of Defense. I mean, you remember how big
Lend-lease?
Where is it at?
It was a big expectation, but it was, let's say, one of the tools, prepared tools. But if we think about like what we had the year before, let's think what we had a year and a half before. What was the main, the central, biggest news sources telling about this? What was rhetoric of Putin's? Oh, it's not a war. It's just a special operation. It's nothing about occupied territory. It's about protecting Russian-speaking people. It's nothing about, now they proved it in the constitution. They made a claim that the territory, even Zaporizhia city, although in Zaporizhia region, and Russians never been in Zaporizhia, but they made it in constitution that this is the Russian territory. Zaporizhia never been occupied, but it's already in a Russian constitution. Not a war.
Exactly.
Not and there some leaders of their nations were selling it to their people. It's not a war. It's just like some local conflict and something like that. This is why, and people, it was transmitted like that. And at this moment, it's state story. But they never took responsibility and say, okay, now it's not. Putin say it's the war. Now it's aggression is proved. This is why we're changing. Absolutely, we're changing our attitude to this. No,
it was just a few days ago you and I were talking, and I was going to translate that video of Putin for people to see, but he was point blank calling it a war now. It was interesting. He changed his verbiage now 600 days in. I got one last message for you, and then we'll get you to bed, bud. And this is from King Raccoon. Zhenya, don't worry about USA aid. And this is a Brit. Winston Churchill once said, the USA always does the right thing once it has tried everything else first. The aid will come. That is a really, really good statement.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah. And thank all of you guys. This was super tonight. Thank you for your questions. Hope you guys enjoyed it. We had a really great connection tonight. So we appreciate all of you. And I don't know where else you're going to get conversations, like this that you can participate in. And you realize through this, you're talking to Ukraine. I mean, doesn't get any better than that, guys. So we say this.
Slava Ukraini!
All right, Jacob. Thank you, bud. Get some rest. Stay in the green room. I'll tell you good night after this. All right, guys. Be blessed. We appreciate all of you, all the new viewers, new commenters, everything. You guys rock. Be blessed. We'll see you on Monday, 9 o'clock Eastern from Oklahoma City. If not before, make sure you have notifications on. Appreciate all that you guys do.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah. And hey, we don't get it very often now, but we will soon when I'm there, and we'll be there together. But a good night to all.
To all a good night.
Slava Ukraini!